To begin the panel today, I would like to invite Dr. Avinash Kulkarni, Founder Director, ArcLight Specialty Lamps Private Limited. Dr. Kulkarni, if you can put up your presentation or if you can start your presentation.
Good afternoon. This is Dr. Avinash Kulkarni. I'm chairman of ArcLight Specialty Lamps Limited. We'll first begin with basics of UV technology. We first begin with the introduction to UV. Electromagnetic spectrum, as we know, is 23 order of magnitude, in which the visible portion is really very, very tiny, from 400 nanometer to 780 nanometer. Anything shorter than 400 nanometer and up to 100 nanometer is the ultraviolet. This ultraviolet is divided in three parts: UVA, which is abundant in sunlight, UVB, and we are most concerned about UVC. It is this wavelength range between 200 to 280 nanometer, which is very effective, has got very effective germicidal properties. And the UV lamps, which we manufacture, emit at 254 nanometer, which is the resonance line of mercury. We manufacture all three types of lamps: regular, high output, and amalgam. They are all made from the quartz. Regular lamps are like 1 watt per inch, like our tube light, lighting tube light, and high output lamps are like 2 watt per inch, and amalgam could be 4 to 5 times that. Now there's quite a bit of similarity between a UV lamp and a fluorescent lamp. If you remove the phosphor from the fluorescent lamp and make the glass UV transmitting, you will have UV lamp. Now the UV lamps are made of either of soft glass, or they are made of parts. We manufacture UV lamp only out of quartz glass. Soft glass is also used for manufacturing UV, but soft glass cannot be used for manufacturing high output lamp. It cannot be used at all for making amalgam lamps. Quartz glass UV lamp, a premium lamp. It is a UV. Quartz has a much higher UV transmission. It is less affected by temperature. Unfortunately, making quartz lamp is not so easy. It softens at 2000 degrees centigrade as compared to 700 degrees centigrade for soft glass. So soft glass can be made in high production machines, which can produce several thousand lamps per hour. But quartz glass takes a lot of effort, and that's why it is more premium, but it is worth it. It lasts longer. It doesn't solarize. That means it has much, much better UV maintenance. And that is the reason why quartz glass have become standard for industrial and commercial applications. For a domestic application, like fortunately for Indians, UV treatment of water has been known for more than 30 years. There has been AquaGuard in every other house. And so where the soft glass UV lamps, which is not such a demanding application, because you are treating only couple of liters per minute. But when you are talking about treating in MLDs, million liters per day, you need UV source which are reliable, which will last longer, and which has got the highest possible efficiency. The germicidal UV technology, as I said, that between 200 to 280 nanometer, there is a peak at 265 nanometer, and the lamp, mercury lamp, which are commonly used for this application, they emitted 254 nanometer, which as I said, is a resonance line of mercury, and it is about 80% as efficient as the peak value at 265. So it's quite efficient, and the conversion rate of electricity into UV in quartz lamp is between 30 and 40%. You compare this to 1.5% for UV LEDs, UVC LEDs. So we are talking about much higher efficiency, and where massive amount of UV is required, like in air processing or water processing, the quartz UV lamp has become standard in the industry. Now, how does UV radiation work? UV, any microbe has got a sheath, and the UV first breaks the sheath, and then hits the DNA, and it breaks the bonds of DNA. And once the bonds of DNA are broken, they cannot multiply. And this is the mechanism of UV breaking the UV for destroying the microbes. Now, in this case, in the case of viruses, there is no sheath like microbe, and so in a way, microbe is virus is a naked element, but it is so tiny, so that's why it is not so easy to catch hold of it, and so that's why. But technically, virus doesn't have a sheath, and so it is more vulnerable. What are the applications? Wastewater treatment. I am going to be focusing more on wastewater treatment in my today's talk. There is a drinking water. Fortunately, we have been one of the pioneers in drinking water in India, UV disinfection of drinking water in India. Then food and beverages, pharmaceutical and cosmetics, brewery, dairy, poultry and fish farming, spa and swimming pool. In all these areas, UV treatment of water is very important. Now, if you take sewage, then the very primary stage involves removing solids, oils, etc., separating them physically. Then the second stage is where your COD and BOD are adjusted by airing, by blowing air through them, so that COD, BOD level come down to the level, acceptable level. Then there's a tertiary treatment where there's a media filtration, active carbon filtration. And the last, what we are proposing is UV disinfection. Now, this is where most of the India, we are doing chlorination, which I'll talk about it, that how chlorination is distinctly inferior technology compared to UV disinfection. Because first of all, when chlorine doesn't support life, and if you are going to take wastewater, chlorinate it, and put it in the river, you are not helping the fish, you are not helping the vegetation. And so, if you do UV disinfection, then all the germs are gone. And now we are aware of, in Europe as well as in America, you see plenty of fish in the river. And so, if you chlorinate it, it will not help. But UV disinfection is very common in the Western countries. Now, let us just look at briefly look at the chlorine disinfection and its disadvantages. Chlorine use has been linked to cancer and birth defects in humans. It's bad taste and odor. It also causes irritation if it is in swimming pool. Chlorine has been found to be ineffective in killing certain microbes. For example, the one which causes hepatitis. Chlorine cannot kill that. Large contact tanks are required because chlorination requires minimum 30 minutes. And if you have 100 mld plant, 30 minutes of reaction time will need 100,000 square feet space, even if you take 2 meter height of the water column. So when you are talking about cost of chlorination, you should take the cost of land also into account. And if you take the cost of land into account, you will find UV treatment is far, far cheaper. If you are putting this such a apparatus in boom docks where the cost of land is nothing, but all we are talking about is treatment or recycling of the city waste and and so if we can save the cost of land, it is a significant contribution. Another dangerous aspect of chlorine is a potential leakage. And I'm aware of certain plants in which they stop chlorination in the night time with the fear that the chlorine may leak and it will lead to some serious problem. So in UV, there is nothing like this. Now let us look at the advantages of UV treatment over chlorination. No influence on taste and smell, no addition of toxic chemicals, it is environmentally safe, no residual effect, very minimal footprint as compared to chlorination. The contact with the UV is disinfection is almost instantaneous. Effective against chlorine-resistant pathogens like hepatitis, as mentioned earlier. And I would just like to add, our first installation for drinking water has been in Shimla Jal Board, where they had a serious problem with hepatitis. And we have installed plants there where the chlorination, where the hepatitis issue has been resolved. Low maintenance and low operating cost for UV system. Simple construction and easy to operate as compared to chlorination, because there's always a danger that something may go wrong and may be a catastrophic mistake. Here is a very general picture given about the installation cost and maintenance cost of UV versus chlorination. All I want to, first of all, this cost does not take into account the cost of land. So even if you ignore that, yes, chlorination is cheaper to install if you don't consider the cost of land. But even with this high installation, high initial cost, after 4 years, the maintenance cost is so much lower with UV that it is more economical. And so let's go to the next, the process water. Industry requires many processes, clean, disinfected water, which is recycled and reused. Production process in cosmetic, chemistry, automobile industries, production process in food and beverage industry, rinsing and cleaning processes in the semiconductor industry. All this water is recycled with UV disinfection. Okay, this is the 4 units which we have installed in Shimla. These are 250 cubic meter per hour, and they have been used for drinking water. And you can see there are, each one of them has got 12 what you call amalgam lamp, which we manufacture in our factory in Chakan. And these are capable of handling 1000 cubic meter per hour or 24 MLD. Now, this is a wastewater system. There's another alternative. You don't have to go to a closed system like what I shown you in what we installed in Shimla. You can have a what you call open channel system. Say something like 2 meter by 2 meter channel you have. You install a bank of very high wattage, powerful UV lamps, few hundreds of them, and then run water through this channel, and you will have disinfected water coming at the end. And this is the right system. This is the right system for the wastewater treatment. It's called open channel system. Just to in conclusion, we have UV technology for water treatment. It's almost a must for wastewater. It is desirable for wet drinking water because it can take care of all the microbes, including for yellow fever, for hepatitis. And UV technology is now available locally. All these lamps, ballast, this technology is available locally. So costs have come down significantly. I think it's worthwhile for every city, every business to take a second look at UV technology. And we have been pioneer in this technology. We have been making UV lamps for the last 15 years. And we are still the only manufacturer of UV lamps in India. And I may add that we have done some 70 underground metro stations, which are like 200-meter long and massive installation. We've done 20 airports. So UV technology is available in India, and it has been used extensively And we are very proud to say that we are pioneer in this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kulkarni. Just a quick question, if I may. One of the factors that many people choose chlorination over UV systems for disinfection is, the fact that there is a residual chlorine after a treatment, which really allows the water to remain disinfected for over a period of time. Could you throw some light on, despite of this, why UV technology should be a more adaptable one? Obviously, we have seen, the facts that you have presented in terms of the pros and cons of both the systems. But as an expert, if you can just highlight this one factor which largely drives people, other than the cost, which drives people to adopt chlorination.
In fact, I should have mentioned it during my talk. Sorry. I think it's an excellent question. I'm thankful to you for raising it. Residual chlorine of about half ppm is a must because it prevents reinfection of water. And so, for example, if you are going to throw this water into river, you don't have to have chlorine in that. But for drinking water, yes, you have to have half ppm of chlorine. But anything higher, if you are going to use UV for chlorine for destruction of microbes, then you use a lot of chlorine, and it creates a lot of complicated compounds which create a lot of health issues. So it is better to disinfect with UV and add a dab of chlorine for retaining its. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Just a supplementary one. What is the normal life of the UV bulbs or the UV, lights? And what is the
10,000 hours, 12,000 hours, 10 to 12,000 hours. So you can just imagine for 24/7 operation, one lamp will last for more than a year.
Yes.
But
yes.
if you use it less frequently, it could be less. It could be longer.
Yeah. Right. Thank you. If there's anything more you want to add, if you have missed out, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, there are several projects coming in the city of Pune, and actually this UV is a very upcoming, and everyone's talking about it, but everyone's a little hesitant because there are still very few installations in operation in India. In Maharashtra, I don't think there is any. And I think in Namomi Gange, they have done some work in this area, and there are a couple of installations done by foreigners, and they are much more expensive. I think it's a we have come to a stage where all should take a serious look at this, and we will be very glad to work with them. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I think it is very important that today when we choose a technology, it is the efficiency of the technology in terms of the resource it uses also play a very important part in the decision making of adoption of the technology. And the other important aspect that we need to consider is how safe it is for our ecology and environment. And I think the system that you presented, actually covers both of these aspects. And so I'm sure we would see more uptake of this as there is more education on the technology. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So